Hello, everybody. Welcome back to the WTF1 podcast. I wasn't actually looking at my screen. Did you wave, Tommy? I saw Katy's wave. You did. Okay, but not in unison. So you're going to have to pretty much pick up your game. Okay. Anyway, welcome to the French Grand Prix podcast. And you'll probably notice there's a lot of energy going on, especially with me. I'm still rolling over from Internet's Best Reactions. I'm still very happy that Paul Ricard provided something. And it provided a lot of things. And of course, joining me in this virtual commentary booth, I thought Tommy had actually frozen for a second with how little he was moving. It is the WTF1 founder. Not wearing actually, we're all wearing black, to be fair. We got the memo, even though none of us said we were wearing black. We are the trio that decide that we don't want any sort of patterns or anything. Actually, I'm wearing the WTF1 old school from a couple of years ago event when we did some karting.
Nice.
So yeah, the founder of WTF1. Well done. I don't know. I did get that out of my mouth then. And Katy Fairman, the WTF1 editor. If there's words, she's there.
Chucking them out. There we go.
Exactly. So, firstly, also want to say welcome to our Team WTF1 members who are watching this podcast live. Hence why it's a little bit more loopy than usual, because we're just off the rails at the moment with our podcasts. If you want to join Team WTF1, all the information and the links will be in the description below, so you can join the chat as we continue on this Paul Ricard memory lane. Right, 3-word race reviews. Here we go then. Wow, that's a lot of underscores. Underscore V dot underscore dot S dot underscore underscore underscore. Why did you include that? France wasn't boring.
You know why I included it.
It wasn't even that. It wasn't even that unique. Nico underscore 599 better than expected, and Matt Gudge 96 Max Super Max. France wasn't boring. It was very much better than expected, and. I mean, that last one, Matt Gudge, is definitely your burner account, isn't it, Tommy?
Yeah, how did you know?
Oh, yeah, of course. That's why you've got a big smile on your face. just put the two together. Tommy, let's start with your 3-word race review, shall we?
So mine is another epic finish. And yeah, I cannot believe Paul Ricard delivered that race. I mean, the biggest criticism of Formula One, I think, in recent years and also ever, probably you'd say, is that races are often decided at turn one, and it's kind of like game over, isn't it, as soon as that happens? But oh my word, like that's 4 times in 7 races that it's gone down to maybe the last 6 laps and you don't know who's going to win. I genuinely can't remember how many times in the last 5, 6, 7 years where races have gone down to the wire. Not many, and we've had 4 in 7 races. I mean, what a race! And for it to happen at Paul Ricard as well, just wow. And it was kind of like Barcelona in reverse, wasn't it? But I'd argue, are you going to roast me here and say it's because Verstappen won? But I'd argue that it's better because it did feel like it changed during the race as well. Like there were moments when the gap went back up, you're like, I think Hamilton's got this. Whereas Barcelona, it very much seemed like this is game over for Max. Whereas that race, oh my word, like to go down to the final 2 laps, I love this season so much. It's so good. Absolutely loving it.
Max is leading the championship. But I completely agree. It was better than Spain because it was consistently being caught, and we kind of accepted the fate of Verstappen in that particular instant. But as you say, it was there was a time where it's about 5 seconds, and it stayed there for about a lap and a half. And then Lewis made a mistake, which was crucial. I think he lost about 1.5 seconds. Obviously, his tyres are absolutely shredded, so fair enough for making a mistake. But maybe if he hadn't have made that, it would have been a perfect drive to the end. Perhaps, maybe if Bottas had not defended fresh air and gone off, but we'll get onto that. Maybe he could have won that race, and that would have been probably one of Lewis's best drives in recent time, in my opinion. Just the way he was able to extend that stint was phenomenal. But yeah, completely agree that it is just awesome this season. And we kind of joked about it, didn't we? Especially you, Tommy, at the start, before we even begun. You said, well, you're going to get an absolute worldie of a season, and then everything's going to change and someone's going to be dominating again. Well, the small regulation change seems to be the one that we all needed. We've all been asking for massive ones, but just a little bit of a come back here, Mercedes. Come on, come back here. And it's provided some incredible races already. I can't believe we're not even halfway through the season, and we've had enough bangers for an entire season, I think. So yeah, very happy.
It's so true. And I mean, obviously fans know Paul Ricard to be a bit of a snooze fest. And I think we were fully expecting the same again. So for the race to be one of the best we've seen so far this year, like that seems like a sentence that nobody should be saying. It should be, oh, well, 2021 was great, but Paul Ricard was still Paul Ricard and provided a boring race. But no, it was excellent. And like you say, there was no point where you were like, right, 100% money on Hamilton winning or Verstappen winning. It was constantly up in the air. And it just proves that strategy is such an important part of Formula One that sometimes I feel like isn't taken for granted enough, because maybe it's behind closed doors or something like that. And, compared to all these overtaking battles that we see, but strategy is such a vital part of a Formula One race weekend. And to see two teams at the top of their game going for two very different strategies just made sure that we were on the edge of our seats the whole time. So round of applause for Paul Ricard.
Well done, Paul.
It's the saddest round of applause ever.
Yeah, Bottas may not have enjoyed that so much because he didn't want to be on the strategy Mercedes gave him. So yeah, a lot of Valtteri chat, I'm sure, coming. DG Coy 27. Is it too early to call this season one which has been blessed by the racing gods? I mean, we got a good race out of Paul Ricard, for God's sake. I don't think it's too early at all. I think, well, no, I'm not going to say it. I'm not even going to say anything about the rest of this season because I just know that I will be blamed for it. So right now, if we were to end the season right now, it's been unbelievable. I think this is a season we will look back on. It's a funny thing and a phrase that you see go around Twitter and TikTok and stuff about, I wish that we'd know when we're in the good old days, when we're actually in them.
This quote from The Office.
This is, okay, is it The Office? Okay, but people have turned it into quite a serious quote as well, which it actually does hit. Does slap a little bit. So I think this is it, guys. 2021 will be a season that a lot of people remember. So just soak it in.
Absorbing every little last bit that we can, because like you say, it's been an incredible season. Even from pre-season testing, we had thoughts that maybe this could be the year that things change, and Mercedes didn't look too strong and Red Bull looked really good, and obviously it's part of our jobs to sort of talk about all these rumors and create excitement, but for it to actually happen is a whole nother story. And like you say, 2021, I think, and I hope, will go down in the history books as being one of the best, if not the best year that F1 has had, maybe in modern era. Maybe I should, because there's some good seasons from like 70s and 80s and 90s and stuff. But I'm just so excited for when we can get to circuits like, Brazil, if we go there, or Spa and places like that, and Silverstone, because I just think they're going to be great. I hope I'm not setting my expectations too high. And I know I'm waving my hands a lot around here, but I'm just so excited.
Yeah, take off soon.
I know, going to fly off.
You say it's our job to obviously hype it up and make it exciting. It was only 2 years ago at Paul Ricard that we had one of our longest ever podcasts where we were ranting about how Formula One was broken. And we just come off one of the worst starts to an F1 season ever, with absolutely no competition. Mercedes finished 1-2 every single race. Really dull race. And then, I mean, I just can't get over the start to the season. We said, and yeah, I don't think you should be scared to overhype it. Obviously, I know, like, if it continues like this, I think it would be arguably one of the greatest Formula One seasons ever, because I've seen so many. There's a lot of people that have never seen a championship battle, which is crazy to think, and have been watching for a few years and like never seen a proper championship battle. But even if I think back to Schumacher and Hakkinen, or Schumacher and Alonso, you look back at the moments in that season, and it was a great title fight that went down to the wire, but it tended to be Ferrari were really good one race, Renault were really good the next race, and there's maybe 2 or 3 on-track battles, not loads. Hamilton and Verstappen seem to be going wheel to wheel every single race. It's absolutely amazing. I just can't believe, just enjoy it, like you say, because I've seen a lot of people going, oh, it wasn't that good, or I wish more people were involved. Just people will look back on this season as incredible. You got prime Lewis Hamilton against Max Verstappen, who's in the form of his life, going wheel to wheel every race. make the most of it because it's so good.
Yeah, and we're not ever going to get 20 drivers fighting for the world championship. Let's be realistic here.
Yeah.
That 2 drivers from different teams. There's no team orders there. Slight reliance on the teammates to turn up, which we'll get onto as well. Perez obviously kind of forcing Mercedes to go for a certain strategy rather than Spain, which we were very, I was very critical of Perez, but they were able to pull off something awesome. So there's so many storylines in this season within Red Bull and Mercedes, and also the other teams and all the driver swaps we've seen. That I think 2021, as I say, will be remembered very fondly if we continue on this trend. So I'm going to just add that little disclaimer at the end. The kind of if we don't then have another 16 horrendous races, I think this will be a good season. Another question, Lil_Leadfoot. How can F1 ensure that races at Paul Ricard and other potentially boring tracks will continue to be entertaining? Why did we suddenly see so many overtakes compared to previous races here? I think there were quite a few variables at play at Paul Ricard. I think one of them was that the practice, and Tommy loves free practice. The fact that all the data they collected in free practice was pretty much out the window because there was a complete washout on the Sunday. The track was green, so much cooler than they'd seen throughout the entire weekend. So they didn't have the data of exactly how the tyres will perform. So that's pretty much probably one of the main reasons. Obviously, the other reason being that the teams are very closely matched and there was a different strategy at play, which is also great for entertainment. But the main thing for me is the fact that the F1 teams lacked data. They didn't know what the fastest strategy was, and shock, it was a banger.
So yeah, we don't even need sprinklers for a wet race because it didn't even need to be a wet race. The hype was.
If it started raining as well, I probably would have turned off too much.
But it didn't even need to be a wet race because, like you say, it was so good. But maybe that's the answer. You can keep Friday practice, but just throw buckets of water over the track Sunday morning and just get all the rubber off. Start again, but
yeah, clean
the whole
Tommy,
track.
You're onto something.
There we go, done it.
Well, at least Silverstone, we can pop up onto the track.
Yeah, we'll do it. As it's our duty as the entertainers of Formula One to do it. Yeah, I think the thing is with Paul Ricard, we went, like I said before, in 2019 in quite a very uncompetitive season. This is just proof that F1 needs to be close. And if you've got 2 teams that are close, you've got the midfield battle, which is really close, which there are loads of overtakes going on there as well. When teams don't know what the best strategy is, things are close. Mercedes, we'll go into this, but Mercedes and Verstappen, you could argue, these tiny, tiny errors, really, they're pretty small, like 1 lap pitting too late, or Hamilton running slightly wide, or Verstappen running at turn 1. They're huge because it could decide the race. It could decide the world championship, and we're not used to it. Whereas 2019, Bottas didn't have to fight anyone. Hamilton running wide at a turn just meant that he won by 17 seconds instead of 20 seconds. It just shows that when the racing is close, you can have amazing racing and anywhere.
And going back to Matt's point about having lack of data, of course, we didn't race here in 2020, which could also have an influence. These cars have changed, not obviously massively dramatically, but regulations have been tweaked here and there and stuff like that. So that could have definitely played a part as well. But I think there's also probably some stress from Red Bull, I would imagine. I mean, they went for the 2-stop, obviously. Perhaps there was something niggling in the back of their mind to do with these Pirellis. Obviously Verstappen suffered a blowout and he lost his race win in Baku. So I don't know, maybe it's just a mix of things and it's just so happened to work out at Paul Ricard. But it is certainly unusual because we have spent many a time slating Paul Ricard as a circuit. You guys, like you said on the podcast before I was even part of it, and it's surprising to see it do so well.
Right, just quickly need to mention an amazing thing. We did actually speak about Silverstone, so half a segue is the fact we're doing the WTF1 Clubhouse at Silverstone. Full capacity crowd is expected. So, we're doing camping at Silverstone. If you haven't heard, we've got an awesome setup. We've got so much stuff going on. We've got some very cool people dropping by as well, which we haven't really announced yet. But once we can, that is very exciting. But you can camp with us. There's going to be lots of activities, DJ, just the absolute works going on. So if you haven't sorted out accommodation or whatever, do check it out. and there's a full refund available as well if it doesn't go ahead. So if Silverstone says no, or you can't camp for whatever reason, and it's cancelled, then yeah, you get a refund. So yeah, do check it out. Again, it's in the description below, and we'd love to see you there, because myself, Tommy, and Katy will be there for pretty much the entirety of it, won't we? So that'll be fun.
Can't wait. It missed Silverstone last year, so it's going to be good to get back to an F1 race. It's been too long,
and it's got a fully licensed bar. We've got like a massive marquee. It's going to be solid. Anyway, I love how I said the bar and I got really excited. My 3-word race review. My 3-word race review: Merc Mess Up. Now, they didn't mess up royally. This isn't like a Germany 2019 2.5-minute pit stop or whatever. But I felt like they could have won the race personally. Especially at the first pit stops where they used Bottas, not used him, but just went on the aggressive with Bottas, pitting him first, then Verstappen pit, and that's the window you have to pit is the lap after Bottas, because in my head, and I'm not a racing strategist, but in my head, as soon as Bottas pits, they're forcing the hand of Max, who obviously lost the lead at turn 1, so Lewis was leading. They're forcing the hand of Max. If he stays out, he's going to be a sitting duck and lose position to both of them. You've got to pit Lewis the lap after Valtteri. You have to. Fair enough, Max might carry on, and then he may have done a Perez and had better tyres towards the end, maybe. But they would have had a 1-2 track position with not the worst tyres in the world. So, in my opinion, you just go on the full aggressive. So, didn't happen. And of course, they then pit the lap after Max, and Max had a worldy outlap, and somehow, I think none of us really expected it, took the lead going into turn 1. I would have loved to have seen Tommy's face as he flew up the inside.
I don't know about you guys, that camera is so low down and so long looking down. You could not tell how close they were.
Yeah.
And I remember thinking it was a big surprise until they got to the braking zone. It was like, oh, Max is ahead. It's really hard to tell. I don't know if you guys felt the same, that he'd actually got ahead.
Yeah, depth perception is quite difficult in those kind of camera shots. But I think as it kept going, I kept expecting Lewis to just turn into turn 1, and it just never happened. And then Max was in the lead. But I still think it was a massive missed opportunity for Max.
Oh, hugely. I mean, we came into Paul Ricard thinking that this is Mercedes' stomping ground. Obviously, they've had so much success here in the past, and it was theirs to lose, and they lost it. So Christian Horner, I mean, he's obviously one. He loves the spicy quote. He loves to stir the pot. He said, if Red Bull can beat Mercedes at Paul Ricard, then they can beat them anywhere, which is a quote that has aged very well. And now there is even more expectation on Red Bull to
might have aged well.
But we'll wait and see. We'll talk about that quote in Abu Dhabi maybe when the season's over. But I know we talk about it every podcast, but it's because it's a really big talking point, and that is just Mercedes don't seem to be with it at the moment. Even like I've noticed an attitude shift in Toto. Obviously, it's very easy to say that sitting from my sofa at home watching, Sky coverage or whatever, because they're only going to show certain bits of it. But he just seems to have a different way of approaching things and interviews and stuff like that. Maybe it's just because he's annoyed that Mercedes aren't leading and he's, got an evident challenge ahead of him. But Mercedes just don't seem like the normal Mercedes at the moment. And I mean, it's good for the championship, but it's just very unusual for an F1 fan that's seen them do so much over the last 7 years to see them in this like fragile state.
Yeah, they've been so perfect, haven't they? As well, like a lot of the time we expect just the perfect pit stops, the perfect strategies, and domination. But we come into this season, and they just seem to be making mistake after mistake, which is crazy. You just don't expect that from Mercedes.
There's a lot in that race as well. I think you summed it up perfectly. I saw a lot of people jumping on Mercedes have bottled it with a 2-stopper. And obviously, I think in reality, that was the wrong thing to do, especially for Bottas, because he obviously, we'll go into it later, but he obviously wanted to do a 2-stopper. He said it was the best way. But they clearly burned their tyres out a bit too early after trying to chase Max, because they were on the back of him. But I think the 1-stopper actually wasn't too bad. And if Hamilton hadn't made that mistake, I think maybe we would have seen him defend a little more. It might have gone down to the last lap, and then he probably would have put in some kind of move to try and defend it. But you're right, Matt. For me, it's the first stop that is actually the big screw up. Why you wouldn't pit Hamilton immediately after Bottas makes absolutely no sense, because the only reason you wouldn't do it is if Verstappen and Bottas pitted at the same time. You want, like, of course Max is going to come in the pits, and then I cannot believe they did that. A really odd choice. And then for them to not even try splitting the strategies was an odd choice as well. And then I think there's a question later, but again, like even little things like they didn't go for the fastest lap point, and they just seem to be making a lot of these errors at the moment, which you just don't expect from Mercedes. Maybe it's just because they've not had any competition for the last 2 years, and now they've actually got to try and do something to win these races. And when it doesn't work out, everyone's on their back, and it's like, oh, what are Mercedes doing? But it's just not like Mercedes to do this, is it?
No, it's not. Callian_VNS says, why is Mercedes all of a sudden looking so lost under pressure? Is their focus more on 2022 car development at this point? I don't think so. I think they still want to continue this winning streak. And to be honest, especially at the start of that next stint, once they'd all pitted, but Max had got track position, they looked rapid at the start of that hard stint because they were able to follow Max so closely. Obviously weren't able to get through, and Max withstood a huge amount of pressure then, which was another sort of key point for me to kind of put in the locker of, yes, Max is ready to win a world title, is that he was able to hold off two Mercedes that were literally, I think they were all separated by a second at one point, which was ridiculous to see in this generation of Formula One car. So no, I think, it's the same for Mercedes and Red Bull. There's going to be a turning point where they both have to go, okay, 2022 is more important. But I feel like the one that's chasing will have to continue with 21 a bit longer. And then maybe, we'll see the repercussions of that later down the line. But for me, it's not a case of Mercedes being lost for pace or whatever. It's been quite consistent. And if anything, they've picked up the pace a little bit after their woes in Bahrain and, how slow they looked there. I just feel like they're making mistakes. And it's almost like they're not ready for the pressure that's this season has brought. It's like they've come into it and thought, it's going to be another walkover, or at least going to be quite easy. But instead, as I already said, far too many mistakes if they want to win the championship.
Yeah, I don't agree with Hamilton that they like the Red Bull was so much quicker and they couldn't have done anything.
One lap pace, but in the race, I don't think so. Yeah,
exactly what you said with the two Mercedes when they were right on the back of Max. Maybe an easier track to overtake and they would have got by, or if that was a one stop and it had gone on and they like Max didn't pit, I think the Mercs probably would have got by. It's going to change. The narrative is going to change every single race. I feel we had almost exactly the same conversation after Spain of like, Red Bull aren't ready to challenge for the title. They're bottling it. They're making so many strategic errors. And now the whole thing's flipped on its head. Hamilton it's kind of like Max as well. Max made that mistake at turn one, but ultimately it didn't matter. Whereas if he hadn't won the race, that would have been the big talking point. But now, because it's going to change every single race, and these tiny little errors are just going to become like such huge things. And it's just I think it's gonna swap. And I'd love to, even though I know you obviously joke that, I want Max to win the title and lead the title or whatever. I hope it does change every race between Mercedes and Red Bull. We've longed so long for a title to not be decided in Mexico, 5 races to go. Please just be this good.
I want to challenge quickly about your Spain comment. I don't think we were having a go at the strategy of Red Bull, because they were very much...
I meant more a lot of, not us, like a lot of people were like, Red Bull bottling strategy. Oh,
if anything, the thing that but the thing was that they were hamstrung there because Perez
Mercedes
was
put them
nowhere
in
near.
Mercedes
that was the problem with Red Bull, was that Perez wasn't within a pit stop window. So that was the problem there. I mean, Max couldn't do anything. If he'd pit, he would have lost track position and was slower than the Merc. So there wasn't. If people were saying that, it's wrong.
Katy,
what's your thought?
Yeah. I think to answer the question, I don't think they're giving up on 2021 at all. I think, like you say, they've had just a few bumpy races, and yes, things haven't worked out as planned, but hey, this is Mercedes, and we've seen how dominant and professional they normally are. And I have no doubt that they will group together, refocus, and, continue to be dominant in some of the races coming up. I mean, we're literally in round 7 of 23 we've just had. Like, there's there's a long road ahead, and although it's good to talk about, have Red Bull mess this up, have Mercedes mess this up, like, it is these tiny little decisions that maybe are made in the spur of the moment that will impact the championship, which is why we're having these discussions. But I don't think Mercedes have just gone, do you know what, we'll just let Red Bull have this one and we'll come back stronger next year, because that's not in their mindset. Like, they're champions. They want to get all these records of winning so many consecutive things and, in championships and stuff like that. So yes, we'll wait and see. But like Tommy said, I hope that it does keep chopping and changing, and 1 week Mercedes are really strong and 1 week Red Bull are really strong, or they're both really strong and we have a battle like we had in France. So that's my answer to your question.
No way with a gap of just 12 points is Lewis going to be like, no, come on guys, let's regroup, try again next year.
Back it up. Yeah, see you later.
Absolutely no way. Like, he's going to want to get title number 8. Mercedes are going to want to get her title number 8,000, however many it is. And they're not going to give up at all.
No, and
come on, write them up, and to write them off, just do not write them off. Come on.
No, don't write them off. Absolutely not. As much as Christian Horner says they can beat them at any place now that they beat them at Paul Ricard. But I'm still not of the thinking that Mercedes had the slower race car, as we've mentioned. I think they were quicker than Red Bull, but Red Bull somehow managed to win a 2v1 kind of. I mean, Perez was there or thereabouts, but I still see that as a 2v1. And they did very well, including Max. We interrupt this WTF1 podcast for a very quick chat about our sponsor for this episode, LinkedIn Talent Solutions. Today, many small business owners are busier than ever because they're focused on managing and growing their business. They can't always spend the time they wish they could on recruiting. That's why LinkedIn Jobs has made it easier to find and hire the best candidates for free. Get started by posting your job for free to reach LinkedIn's network of over 30 million professionals in the UK. Fill out targeted screening questions to get your role in front of the most qualified candidates with the experience, skills, and motivation you need. Then use simple tools to filter and prioritize the top candidates you'd like to interview. LinkedIn Jobs will help you hire the right person for your role, and your first job post is free. Just visit linkedin.com/WTF1. Again, that's linkedin.com/WTF1 to post a job for free. Terms and conditions apply. Right, let's get back to the podcast. 4E1 Rap asks, why doesn't Mercedes run the strategy for the fastest lap point? I have no idea. I think the only reason not to was that maybe they were hoping for some sort of tyre blowout, and maybe Perez would have got a puncture or whatever, or Max, or even Lewis. And so they've left Bottas out there to potentially pick up the scraps because it was a high degradation race. That front left especially was being chewed off. So maybe they just left it out there because, if they pit and then Perez had a problem and Max had a problem, they go, why did you pit Valtteri? And it's still very odd because I think the safer bet was certainly to pit and to get the extra point, because you never know how many points the driver's title is going to be separated by the end. But then at the same time, does Bottas care? Not sure.
I think the reason they did it was because both Bottas and Perez were under investigation, and they were hoping that Perez would get the penalty. And then if they had pitted Bottas for fastest lap and then missed out on that third place by, a tenth or something because they'd pitted him for another set of tyres, they'd be severely upset. I think that's why they didn't do it.
They never showed
that. Was that? I saw the exclamation mark.
They never showed it. I watched the race. I actually watched the race back. When Perez overtook Bottas round the outside into that sweeping corner, he ran really wide, and you can't see it from the video. And again, when they showed the replay, they cut just before Perez went into that corner. They never actually showed the incident, but Mercedes believed that Perez had all four wheels off when he went round that corner. And so they believed that if they stuck within 5 seconds at the finish, he'd get a 5-second penalty. Bottas would get more points than just a one fastest lap point. However, they didn't even finish within 5 seconds of him anyway. So that worked out well. So yeah, strange choice. I'm hard to judge that one because, like I say, for some reason they just did not want to show on the world feed if Perez did run wide or not. From the very, like, I tried to watch it, like pausing where he was, and you just can't really tell.
Frame by frame.
He's definitely like run wide, but you can't tell. But to be honest, I'm glad they don't penalise stuff like that because the move was done, really, wasn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. And you were speaking about the TV direction as well a little bit there. I didn't think it was the greatest for France either. There was a lot of small box action and a lot of replays, but not a lot of live action in the big box. Now, a question from Team WTF1 member Megan Tehan. Sorry if I've just butchered that. With Red Bull winning, do you think Red Bull have this season won? Because of the win? Wow, a lot of winning and won. Because of the win at the track where Mercedes usually are dominant with a 1-2 in recent years. It's early on still, but I'm fairly confident Red Bull have this won.
Is anybody getting that Pablo Montoya press conference?
Exactly what I was thinking. All I could think of was, please read that question with Juan.
I mean, it's very early to say, Megan, and I think it would be silly to put our bets on either of them, to be honest, because it twos and fro's all the time. I think it's going to be a close one. I just hope it goes down to the wire. I'm still skeptical as to whether it will or not, because one of the teams could easily just hit a good stride of winning. It's easy. It could easily be done. I think Red Bull in particular could have easily had more points. I mean, of course, Max crashed from the lead in Baku, so his championship lead could have been even bigger. So it's going to depend on if there's engine failures or, any problems that, cause a 25-point swing, which is easily happening here because either Hamilton or Verstappen could win every single week. So yeah, it's difficult to say, isn't it?
Yeah, you can't say that the championship's won already. We're in race 7. There's 12 points, which is what, a 4th place finish. I guess people are just, maybe some Mercedes fans are just so shocked to see. I mean, that we're not first. What? I don't understand. This is it. It's over, and they're just not used to it. But it's far too early. It's a really close season. Let's not forget. I'm sure. Don't quote me on this, and I'm sure everyone will in the comments. But I'm sure Sebastian Vettel was 12, if not more, points ahead of Hamilton at some point in the 2018 championship, and Hamilton ended up winning it comfortably. It can change. Hopefully, like we say, we really want it to go down to the wire. It's not over until whenever that race is. So just enjoy it being close.
It's so true. I can't remember exactly who it was, but somebody was in my Instagram DM saying a few years ago that maybe it was the 2018 season of Vettel leading, and then we had the summer break. And then after the summer break, Hamilton just went ham, as he calls it, and just dominated and seemed to win almost everything. So yeah, like you say, it's early days. Instead of thinking, oh, Mercedes have lost this, or oh, Red Bull have won it, just enjoy it race by race and absorb what is an incredible world championship that's happening in front of our eyes. As easy it is to do as say, I think maybe Mercedes have bottled it and whatever, but yeah, just enjoy each one as it comes.
You'd be a very brave and potentially crazy person to write off Lewis Hamilton less than a third of the way through the season. So that's all I'll say on that one. Katy, your 3-word race review, please.
So mine is Bottas gets angry, and this is referring to his radio message that was broadcast at the end of the race. Obviously, I will not read it out in full because we will be demonetized. But a lot of swearing and basically very angry that Mercedes didn't listen to his strategy ideas. And obviously he thought that stopped him from doing possibly a second or third, I don't know if he thought he was going to win it. I'm not sure, but he was not a happy boy, and lots of people have felt sorry for Valtteri, and to be honest, I was one of them, because it would be nice if they listened to his calls, and obviously he feels like he's not being listened to, which is worrying, especially as every 5 minutes people are shoving a mic in his face going, so you're out then, you haven't got to drive next year, Mercedes are booting you out. It can't be easy on the poor bloke. But I'm afraid that is Formula One. It's a savage dog-eat-dog world. And Yeah, Toto Wolff said as well afterwards, he's like, well, I'm glad he's getting sweary and angry on the radio because that's what we want from him. So who knows? But it was certainly quite a big talking point after the race.
That's what we want from him, to get angry with the team for not doing their job. Interesting.
We want him to be like the Hulk and go all strong and green, but he didn't say that bit.
Yeah, I think that, that anger we've never really seen from Valtteri before, not in probably that level of just pure unadulterated rage. And I think that probably does, give us an indication that there's other things going on within the team that, he's got a bit of anger for, probably one being his driver contract and maybe how he's being treated, who knows. But yeah, it was interesting to hear Bottas get angry. And deep down, I'm like, is this the time now you decide to start kicking off? What about when you first join? And if you really want to take it to Lewis, you need to start throwing your weight about a little bit earlier than potentially the last season you have with Mercedes. So I'm not sure it's the wisest thing to go against a team that have kept you in as number 2 driver, if you want to call him that, for the last however many years. If you're going to start trying to shake the tools around, that's not a phrase, but I've just made it up, then, and I'm not sure this year's the year, because Mercedes need a strong number 2 that they can rely on, and Bottas is saying, that you should have done this, should have done that. And I completely agree with him. They were wrong to not put him on a different strategy. It was so weird to just allow Max to do that strategy without having covered it off. I know Bottas would have had to pass Perez, but he would have been on fresh mediums, so it would have most likely have been done. So, yeah, I can understand his anger. Poor bloke.
Yeah, poor guy. He drove actually a good race. It was you got to feel for him that it was actually Perez that I was a bit worried about at the start of the race, when he was sort of dropping back. Yeah. And you thought, are we going to get another Spain here where Perez is going to be like 10 seconds behind and someone, and then obviously he pulled this amazing strategy and it worked absolutely fine. And that was clear.
Do you reckon that was part of it?
I don't know if it was... I don't know if that was Perez. I'm sure this is what they'll be saying now, that Perez didn't care about dropping back because he always planned to go longer and do a different strategy and eke out that one start.
Now that I look at it with hindsight, I think genuinely that probably was
what he was doing.
The thinking.
Yeah,
you're out of dirty air, that you have less sliding, you can just manage your tires better. He's tire preservation king.
I think Mercedes lost that race because Hamilton and Bottas were too keen to get Verstappen back too early and absolutely destroyed their tyres. And
how dare you give us racing?
I know.
Fall back 3 seconds each.
Exactly. That is the problem with F1, isn't it? They're actually entertaining and making the race amazing, and it's probably the worst strategy they possibly could have done to actually try and race someone. How dare they? But Bottas, yeah, I mean, after the woes of Baku, to be on the back of Hamilton, he was right behind Hamilton. There was one point where Hamilton dropped back from Verstappen and Bottas had DRS, and you're thinking like, go on, Bottas, you could get him here, and it must be annoying. Yeah,
when was the last time?
Exactly. But poor guy. I mean, yeah, he's had that race, and he's still somehow finished 4th, got the wrong strategy, and I think you're right. Why now is he kicking off when they? If anything, I think the best approach for Bottas is to be that perfect team player. And strangely, now is the time that he's like, he was really compliant with team orders with Hamilton when there was a title fight with no one.
Yeah.
And now Hamilton needs to actually win against another team. He's doing things like what he did in Spain, where he blocked him a little bit, and saying and now kicking off about, I want this strategy, and it's not the greatest way to go.
Sorry to interrupt you, Tommy, but have you ever been in a job where you start your job and you're all really smiley and happy, and what can I do to help, and let me do this and do that, and then over time you realize that you're not maybe being treated as well as you thought you would, or maybe your boss is putting favoritism on someone else, and eventually that just wears and erodes away at you. And I think he's probably just come in as, not going to try and ruffle too many feathers, just going to get my head down, race fast. And then he's just sort of had a reality check, maybe during the winter break or with COVID last year or something like that. His priorities have changed. and he's thought, no, I'm being treated like a mug here. And it's difficult because nobody wants to be teammates Lewis Hamilton because he's so darn good. And, there's a reason why he's got all these world championships, because he is like a sublime driver. And maybe he's just a switch has flicked and he's thought, you know what, I'm probably not going to get this contract next year. And I've always wanted to say these things and I've always bit my tongue, but now's finally the time that
If that's the case, I can't wait for the rest of the radio messages. If he's just going, I don't care anymore, I'm going to go out, burn all my bridges with Mercedes. Yes, please. I would love to see that.
We'll be front row along with Drive to Survive on our popcorn if that happens. Jeez.
If that happens, it's literally a Bottas special season with about 7 episodes of Bottas.
You never know.
Yeah, potentially. I don't agree personally with him realizing he's being treated like a mug now. I think it's more just the frustration that he's.
Sorry, I've just read one of the comments in the live chat. Katy, is this a cry for help?
You do like your job, right, Katy? I'm talking about old jobs before here. Don't worry.
But back to Bottas, I feel like it's more just frustration that he's 72 points behind Verstappen after 7 races, which I think is pretty mad. He's still 5th in the driver's standings behind Lando Norris, and then obviously Verstappen, Hamilton, and Perez. So he's known his treatment the whole time. He's not gone into Mercedes thinking that he is going to be number 1 driver. Of course, there's the headline every year of, I know what to do to beat Lewis this year. And all
Bottas porridge.
Bottas porridge, Bottas coffee, Bottas whatever. I think it's just massive frustration. He's so far behind in the driver's standings. It's pretty much written off already his season. He knows that he's going to have to play second fiddle. But then obviously the racer in him wants to be given freedom to go and do a different strategy. So I understand his frustrations, but I think he needed just to have a better start to the season, and then maybe he would have got these calls. Boosted Stephen, Bottas seemed furious with his team, not just about the strategy, but potentially with other things that have been festering. Will Bottas sign with Mercedes again? I mean, we've obviously covered it. If Bottas gets given the opportunity to race for Mercedes, I don't think he's going to say no. I think he still wants to race, from what we kind of gather. I think it's more the other way around, whether Mercedes want to give him a contract, which I think both of you will agree with. We've kind of covered that question enough. Kendrick, how soon are we going to see proper team orders for Bottas and Perez to give up on merit positions to their respective teammates to help their championship challenges? Pretty soon, in my opinion, especially on the Bottas side of things, because he's gone. Perez is kind of, Perez isn't that far behind. He's got 84 points. Hamilton's 119 and Max is 131. Of course, it's still relatively far behind, and I think he will still have to play second fiddle, but I don't think Bottas really has a leg to stand on. I wonder if Bottas will get out of the way if he's leading the race and Hamilton's second. I don't think at the same time I say that, but I don't think Mercedes or Red Bull want to, impose such horrendous strategy. Sort of swapping calls, because the morale that drops for the driver that's giving up the position, especially if it's for the win, will be pretty crucial. But at the same time, they need to win both the championships, so it'll be it's a balancing act, really.
Yeah, I was thinking, with the team orders, maybe I think you're right in that Mercedes are probably going to be the ones to call team orders for Hamilton, Bottas first. And then I was thinking, well, maybe Red Bull won't call team orders because Perez has proved himself to be a fairly reliable pair of hands compared to some of the other drivers that they've had in that seat in recent years. But then I just remember back to Multi 21 and the fact that there were team orders there, which obviously Sebastian Vettel went against, and there was no real punishment for that. So I don't know if they do team orders, that I'm not suggesting that Perez is going to, what's the word I'm looking for? Go against the team orders, but
defy. There you go.
Defy.
Yeah, you almost
I was
had it.
so close. God damn it.
No, that's not right.
It's been a long weekend. But yeah, I mean, I'm sure it's probably inevitable that team orders will come into place soon enough. But I hope that Red Bull keep the Perez and Verstappen sort of fair game going as long as possible, because it's just so refreshing to see somebody in that second Red Bull seat doing a good job.
There hasn't really been any, I guess, moments where Verstappen has had to pass Perez though yet, I guess. So
no,
only today when he's on a different strategy. But
today.
Sorry, yesterday.
Oh,
Sorry,
We've had a
yesterday.
race.
Sorry. Yeah, did you
Yeah, I know,
miss
but that's
round
different.
2? Yeah, it's different because he's on a different strategy.
Merit, right? The question is on merit.
I think I will go against you, and I think that if Perez is leading a race on merit, he's jumping out of the way for Verstappen, 100%. I think they have to. There's absolutely no way they're not gonna.
Even at this stage,
at this stage,
race season,
it's a 2-horse race.
No,
already.
you're at it.
It's 2-horse race already. Both Bottas and Perez, if they're winning, obviously, and their teammate is behind them, they've got to. It's ruthless game.
You've got to think as well that Perez wouldn't have won in Baku if Verstappen hadn't had his tyre blowout as well. So he wouldn't even have been a race winner had Verstappen, not had that incident. I'm not saying Perez has done an insane job these last few races, but you do have to look at it that he was almost gifted, or he was gifted.
I don't think we're even too far off swapping third and fourths like that little details already. No, I think if Perez is ahead, say Perez is P3 and P4, I think they're swapping them already. No, and Bottas and Hamilton.
Disagree.
Wow, okay.
I think maybe 7 or 8 races to go.
Yeah, put in the chat.
Do you think they'll impose team orders no matter where they are if they're both next to each other? I don't think so yet. I think at least halfway into the season we'll maybe see that. But I think now it's a bit savage. I think it makes sense to do it on the Mercedes side of things because Bottas has about 3 points. But,
well, I think Perez will have personally been maybe briefed a little bit, but then it's easier to say, yeah, sure, I'll do it, than when you're actually in the lead of a Formula One race and going, I'm going to win here.
Someone could literally say no in the chat. Everyone is saying yes. It's an absolute joke.
Tommy's paid them off.
There you go. Thank you, Daniel Cadane, for saying no. Everyone else is saying yes. Don't care about their opinions.
Thank you. I'll send the Team WTF1 link of your money later.
Interesting. Not just yet. Thank you, Matthew Robinson. Right. Anyway, moving on. Let's talk about the midfield because a lot went on. A lot went on.
Yeah.
A lot of things we didn't really see live. But F1_Hill says, how good was McLaren today? For sure, best of the rest. They were very good. They went for 2 different strategies. Mercedes could probably take a leaf out of that book with Lando going longer, Danny Rick going for the, undercut, and he managed to basically make it work really well. Charles Leclerc pit even earlier and did technically have track position ahead of Daniel Ricciardo at one point, but that Ferrari was horrendous after a few laps on the tyres. But they were good. I wouldn't start singing their, or I don't know what blowing their trumpet. I don't know. I wouldn't start proper singing from the trees because they were like a minute behind the Mercedes and the Red Bull. So it wasn't exactly a sterling performance in terms of pace wise, but in terms of beating everyone else and essentially and definitely beating Ferrari, a 5th and a 6th is definitely what they'll take.
Yeah, they've got to be happy with. Yeah, they won't be happy with the deficit, like you say, with the fact that Mercedes and Red Bull are just clearing off. It's back to Formula 1.5 or whatever. But the Ricciardo looked better. I think a lot of people were voting him driver of the day and saying he's back. I don't think I'd agree. He definitely did a lot better, and it's where I thought he maybe should be at the start of the year and slowly edging towards Lando, because at the end of the day, a lot of people thought he should beat Lando. So for him to finish 10 seconds behind Lando is a better performance, but I think still there's more to come from him. But it was great to see him up there.
It was good to see all the moves as well, wasn't it?
That's what I mean. Him making moves again was a joy for everyone to see, and that's what you want. But it looks like McLaren, famous last words, could be that team again where they're really making the most of, if they're the 3rd fastest car in this race, you've got to hope for 5th and 6th, and they're finishing 5th and 6th. Ferrari didn't get any points. That battle for 3rd, that's a huge swing in their favor. And they're doing everything they need to do. So they can be very happy with that points haul. It's just it's nothing like amazing fanfare, other than what I would say is Lando Norris is just unbelievable this year. I've kind of, I wouldn't say doubted him, but I think you said in one of the old podcasts where you said, oh, would you put Lando up with Leclerc and Verstappen? I was kind of like, no, not really.
I wouldn't have done
no, I wouldn't have done. He is definitely getting there for me, because I can't believe he has, done. Was it 7? Is it 7 out of? I can't remember what it was. Was
6
it 8
out of 8?
Yeah, 6
8
out
of 10.
8 out of 10.
Top 5.
8 out of 10 in the top 5. When you think if you've got the third fastest car at best, the best result you can get is 5th, and he's delivering that every single week. Yeah, he is kind of. But fair play to him. Yeah, amazing season.
And within that as well, obviously they've gone from Renault to Mercedes power as well, which is impressive for him to have adapted so quickly to having a different power unit in the back of that McLaren. But yeah, Lando he's doing so well this year. And like you said, before the season, I thought Lando was good, but like if you think of the tier list that people make and stuff, I would have probably had him around like A, B, but he's like proving to be top of the tier with the likes of Verstappen and Hamilton and Leclerc and stuff like that. So I'm super excited to see how he progresses over the next few years, but that's a long way away. We're not talking about that. We're talking about France. But yeah, great for McLaren, because I'll be honest, I didn't think they were going to do too well here. Certainly not 5th and 6th. Certainly, like looking at practice and stuff like that, there are a few good moments in qualifying, but I didn't expect them to achieve a 5th and 6th in the race. I thought maybe they'd be sort of around 7th, 8th. So a great result from them. And like you say, just great to see Daniel Ricciardo back overtaking. The honey badger is slowly coming out of its hibernation, if you want to call it that. I don't know if they hibernate, but we're going to go with it.
We're loving our phrases today.
We are.
Come out with all sorts of rubbish.
Yeah. So it's promising, and hopefully with a few more tracks that are a bit more out in the open, if that makes sense. Like Ricciardo was saying, he didn't enjoy the street circuits with all the tight and twisty walls nearby and all that kind of stuff, which is obviously normally a speciality, but he was looking forward to tracks that had a bit more runoff and allowed him to maybe be a bit more aggressive and push harder and go for these ballsy overtakes, and he delivered. So woohoo.
Yeah, delivered to a certain degree. It's probably still under delivering if you look at the start of the season and where we thought he would be. So if he continues like that, then absolutely. But Lando is a very difficult man to beat at the moment, and it's crazy to see his progression. I think he's only going to get to a certain level in my eyes and everybody's eyes, I believe, in the sense of you get to, you can perform in a car that's decent but can't win races. You only prove yourself when you're in a top team and you can win races. Charles Leclerc at Ferrari, Max Verstappen at Red Bull. When you have that car to win a race and you do win the race, that's when you're in that league, in my opinion. I mean, Lando has definitely shown he can hold pressure. Imola, for example, where he was, trying to hold off Hamilton for a while and whatnot. But you only get to see that final percent, in my opinion, when the time comes.
Yeah,
and
definitely.
You can win a race.
Oh yeah, so. For any sense and purposes, I'm not saying Lando Norris is as good as Max Verstappen and Lewis Hamilton.
Of course you're not, mate. God, see you going red from here. Okay, interesting stuff. Good to hear about McLaren. Christy 54063719 says, why was there no further action for the move of Gasly on Norris? Norris steers away to stop contact from happening and as a result barely goes wide. Gasly goes even wider while overtaking. I get that Norris later took the position, so result wise it's no different, but still it was obviously quite a tight move. And did they both technically go off the track? That was based. Yeah, I think that's probably where the stewards are probably deciding that, it's half 6 of one and half a dozen of the other. There you go, another phrase.
There you go, Martin. Martin Brundle.
We need a little bingo card with all
Literally,
of these.
Oh God, no one will be able to come up with what we're coming out with.
No,
but,
we make half of them up.
Yeah, but and obviously Lando did get the position, but that shouldn't really influence whether or not they investigate it. It's not like, someone just does an illegal move and then goes, oh, they might get him back later, so we'll see. That they would investigate it if they thought there was any wrongdoing, but I didn't think it was that bad with the fact they both went wide.
Yeah, I think that's fair. Yeah, sorry, Tommy.
I was going to say that I'm so glad they don't punish this sort of thing anymore. Again, going back to racing. Going back to that 2019 French Grand Prix 3-hour rant we had about Formula One. Pretty sure there was a moment between midfield drivers where they were going off track, and I think that's where Danny Rick got a 5-second penalty and all this kind of stuff. And in that race, we'd also just come off the back of where Vettel had got that really controversial penalty to win the race. And thank goodness now they're letting they're letting drivers get away with a little more, not just I was of the thing like, please watch IndyCar and see how like racing is really good, when you actually let drivers try and race each other and don't slap them with penalties immediately when there's not really that much in it. And they're doing that now, and I don't think it's any coincidence that we're seeing a lot better racing for it. So for all the moaning at FIA and stewards, well done for that, because fair play, I'm enjoying it.
Yeah, I think there's not really much more for me to add other than I think it's right not to investigate it, and it is
approve.
Racing. Yeah,
there you go.
Stand for
It's
approval.
And it was a great little interview actually with Rosberg and Gasly and Norris, where Rosberg basically told
Rosberg
Gasly
is
what
just so
Norris
desperate.
had said about calling him an idiot, and then said that you're going to apologize, and then Lando's having absolutely none of it and was like, well, I'm pretty sure you said some terrible things when racing, and it's heat of the moment stuff. And even Pierre Gasly said that I would have probably called him the same thing in the same situation if it was the other way around. So
it's funny how they dismissed it, but Rosberg was just throwing bums all weekend, wasn't it?
And I love it.
Yeah, it's great. He's not afraid to ask the questions. What's really funny is and obviously we get it all the time as well, of this whole like bias, your bias against certain people and stuff. There was a kind of, you could argue that hiring an old Mercedes driver could be quite a biased move, because he might be really like, Mercedes is the best. Yeah, they're an amazing team. And actually it's the opposite. He's absolutely
throwing them under the bus.
Yeah, he's throwing them under the bus.
He's
like going for everything. He's saying about Hamilton's soft and Bottas is useless. And
should have closed the damn door, he said about Hamilton. And also the interview that he had with Toto Wolff, where he was saying about the flexi wings on the front, and he was saying that now it's time for, because I think it was when he was speaking to both Christian Horner and Toto Wolff for Sky, and then he was saying, well, you can get Mercedes back for the flexi wing on the front, and Toto Wolff was saying, didn't I pay you really not like handsomely for a few years? It's brilliant. Nico's awesome. He just doesn't care, and that's great.
I think Christian Horner said something like, oh, well, after saying that, that's you off the payroll, Nico, or something.
Yeah. I think Christian was like, are you still on the payroll? Right, Tommy, play the jingle.
Now it's time for ABCDF1.
There you go, live chat. Hope you enjoyed that.
They get to see the live version.
Okay, ABCDF1 time. Let's start. Well, actually, firstly, before we start, you can vote. We have a fan vote, which has been part of it for quite a while. WTF1.com, if you want to get your say in so that you can tell us that we're wrong. Let's start with Lewis Hamilton. I was close to giving him an A star just purely from his just performance. I know he didn't win. I know he didn't get pole, but I feel like from where he was on Friday, and he was saying how many changes he had to make to get that car to work at all. There's obviously talk about the chassis as well, and him having Bottas's rank chassis from Imola that's like in 1,000 pieces. Obviously, they try and say that it's exactly the same, but clearly there, may not be. There's no way anything is exactly the same. But I'm not going to give him an A star, but he was very close. A. Yeah,
I've gone for A as well. I think
if it won the race,
an A star, but A.
A as well.
Okay, lovely. Oh, it's going to be a nice, short, compact, beautiful ABCDF1. I love it.
4 hours
Bottas,
later.
we're all going to agree. Bottas, B.
B.
Wow, that was amazing. You were in unison and everything. That's cool. Sorry, the fans also gave Hamilton an A, and the fans gave Bottas a B. So we're all in sync. Max Verstappen, A star.
Gone A star. I don't think it's not his best A star, but
is Katy about to give him an A?
Yes.
I know he did make a mistake at turn 1.
He did.
I don't blame you.
He made up for it.
He did, and he did execute a 2-stop well, but I'm just going to give him and Hamilton the same grade, which is an A. Sorry. Matt, have you frozen, babes? Or are you just in shock?
What? Okay, all right. I'll just process that and move on. Verstappen was given an A star by the fans, the correct grade. Sergio Perez. He was yay ish.
I think it's it's a high B. If I said B, I feel like it's too harsh, because he did do a good strategy, and I'm giving him the benefit of the doubt that he did do that on purpose.
Yeah, I'm going to give him
an A.
Jeez.
Kate is the angry one today.
I'm the stroppy one apparently. I gave Checo a B,
okay.
which I'll just.
You don't care, and the fans.
Oh, I've lost all my Checo fans. No.
Fans gave him an A. So yeah, there you go. I think the chat were giving someone a B. I think that might have been Bottas because there's a bit of a delay.
Yeah.
Anyway,
somebody's done B star. That's a new one.
B star. Lando Norris. I'm going to give him an A because I think it was a very solid performance.
Yeah, I'm going to give him an A as well. I thought it looked like he wasn't really there after qualifying, and then when he dropped back, and Danny Rick got the better of him at the start, and they were battling. But yeah, he made the strategy work again to just do his Hulkenberg thing of finishing as best he possibly can in a midfield car every single week, it seems. So yeah, A.
I've gone for an A as well.
Well done.
You'd be glad to know.
I love that. I love how I was saying doing a Hulkenberg, but Nico never ever got a podium.
Yeah, Lando's got podiums and stuff.
Crazy.
So, yeah.
Savage.
It's not. I mean, it's just crazy, isn't it?
It's
Daniel
fast.
Ricciardo. I don't know.
It's tough,
was,
isn't it?
It was good. It was great to see him, aggressive and making moves. But because he was making moves, because he started P10 from qualifying, and he was clearly in a good car, and he finished 10 seconds behind Lando. And can I give him the same grade as Lando?
I can't. I've gone for B.
Yeah. Thank you, Tommy, for coming in with that. You helped me.
You didn't want to. Yeah.
I didn't want to be the guy.
I think it's a high B.
Yeah, it's a high B.
It's a B star.
Yeah, it's a B. Yeah.
Okay, so the fans gave Ricciardo an A. So, well, they're going to hate us.
So we're cancelled.
We are. Charles Leclerc, he had one of the worst races of his career. His second worst finish of all time, down in P16.
And he drove.
Why are you laughing, Katie?
And he drove for Sauber.
Are you laughing? Wow.
No, I'm not laughing at Charles. I'm just laughing that it's just that he had such a bad race. It's just so not like him.
His demise.
Oh no, it was a surprise laugh, not a ha in your face laugh.
I have to give him a D because he got beaten by Carlos Sainz as well.
Yeah, if you're finishing, regardless of how bad your tires are, finishing 16th in a Ferrari, it's a D.
Yeah, it's a D as well.
Okay,
Sorry.
and the fans gave him a C. Wow,
that's very generous. That is.
They're more passionate than I am. Carlos Sainz finished P11, I think it was, wasn't it? He was just outside the points. So I think it was P11, wasn't it?
Yeah. Started fifth.
Yeah, started fifth, but tyres were absolutely destroyed. We've actually got a video coming out, F101, coming out today. Not sure which is going out first, so I'm saying that. But either way, look out for it. It's all about how Ferrari have gone from pole position to out of the points. Let's give him a C.
I'll go and C as well.
Yeah, go on then. To sort of,
you're going to give him a D, weren't you?
I was on my sheet as C/D.
That's not helpful.
No, it's not.
The fans gave Leclerc a C and Sainz a C as well. Sebastian Vettel. Somehow Aston Martin had a double points finish, which is redonkulous.
Yeah.
But I think a solid B for Vettel. Different strategy made it happen.
Oh dear. I gone for C.
Let's go.
No, sorry, no, wait, sorry. I was going for C, and then I just realised that we've gone after Science, and he got a C for finishing 11th in a Ferrari. Yeah, fair. Okay, B. I forgot he was 9th. Yeah. For some reason in my head, that whole midfield is.
But then I'm giving Ricciardo the same grade as I'm giving Vettel.
Oh, that's fair.
I don't like ABCDF1 anymore. It's too difficult.
Yeah, we need
more
B,
letters.
B pluses and minuses, but we don't.
Then the whole table goes out the window.
Oh.
Not that we do the table. An amazing fan does that and sends it over to us. But we go for B then. Or
it's a B, B minus, but B.
And the fans gave Vettel a B. Lance Stroll, I want to give him an A.
An A?
He started like 19th and finished 10th.
Yeah, and there were no retirements.
And he got caught out by a red flag in quali.
I'll give him a B.
Yeah. 10th. That means I've got the deciding vote.
They did the same strategy, didn't they? They went really long, both of them.
I'm just covering my ass here because I know the amount of people on social media that were like, what an unbelievable drive from Lance Stroll. So, I mean, I agreed. I think it was a great drive, yeah.
Fair enough.
From 19th to 10th. I think that's a...
How far was he off Vettel?
Let me have a look.
So he got past both Williams, both Alphas, both Haas, all of which were pretty crap in a car that was better.
He was 12 seconds behind Vettel.
Yeah, I'm still. Yeah,
He would have gone
B.
through in qualifying though. So, but yeah, I'll just go B.
Okay, all right, B for Stroll and a B from the fans as well. Pierre Gasly, he ended up finishing P7. P7.
Solid
so
again.
A B. Gasly just scores points every week. B.
It's hard to know with Gasly
so
because I've gone for A, but then I'm like, is that the pace of the Toro Rosso hello Crofty, AlphaTauri that he should be finishing there? It's hard to know if like Gasly is actually really outperforming because he's got a rookie teammate who's.
It makes it very easy to grow to know that when Gasly does well.
Exactly.
All of a sudden saying you got a rookie teammate and he's inexperienced.
But I thought Tommy that Tsunoda was going to beat Gasly.
Oh yeah.
How's that going?
Yeah, really well. Yeah. I still want to give him an A. I think it's
Well, do it. It's your vote.
I'm going for A.
Use your words. I'm going to go B.
Good. All right. So it's completely irrelevant. Who cares what Tommy thinks? B. The fans gave Gasly a B as well. Yuki Tsunoda finished P13, crashed in qualifying. That's a D from me.
Yeah, D. Very first corner.
Maybe an E.
I went E.
It's a shocker.
I went all out. Yeah, it was
first
awful.
Corner of qualifying as well. When you've just had your best result in Baku, you've kind of got over all the other stuff, and you've had a really good race at a really difficult track where everyone expects you to bin it because it's Baku, and you've had a really good result, and then you literally bin it in the wall on the very first corner of your first qualifying lap. It is, not great.
I think I'll give him it. I'll give him a D.
D.
I'm sticking with my E.
Tommy?
I've gone D.
Of course, you're going for a D. The fans gave Tsunoda
you went for the same grade.
A C.
You can't say, of course, you gave him a D.
People love that pit lane to
13th
in quite a good car.
Yeah, no, that's definitely not. But the fans gave him a C. We gave him a D. Fernando Alonso, he had a pretty strong weekend. Finished P8 in the end. His teammate all the way down in 14th. So I'd give Fernando a solid B.
I have gone for B for Alonso as well.
A B as well.
Okay, and the fans gave him a B as well. Lovely. Well done. Esteban Ocon finished P14. A bit of a stinker. He didn't manage to make Q3. I think it's a D. I mean, finishing 14th in the Alpine is.
I've gone for D. Really poor, especially when you should be on a high of your.
You're getting a new contract.
3-year contract, and probably had one
race.
of the worst performances of the year for him.
And it's your home race.
Because the Alpines were looking really quick. What am I?
Toro Rosso Alpine.
This ABCDF1 is just wild.
Right.
Yes, a D.
D.
To be fair to Ocon, Netflix were filming him, so.
Yep, D for you, Katy, as well.
D.
And C from the fans. The fans were feeling very generous after this race.
They're happy after.
Right, we're now in the area that we have no idea what happened to any of these drivers during the race. Kimi Raikkonen, he finished 17th in the Alfa Romeo. That's a D from me.
I've gone for D as well. So started 17th, finished 17th.
Fans gave him a C. Antonio Giovinazzi finished 15th. I'm going to give him a
CD.
I mean, if you're getting beaten by George Russell and the Williams, it's a D, isn't it?
I've given him a C.
I'm going to give him
a D. I'm going to give him a D.
And the fans gave him a C as well. Unbelievable scenes. George Russell finished P12, which was a very lovely race from him, even though didn't really see him the entire race.
No.
And there's no race,
DNFs. The one
race is no DNFs.
Unbelievable. That's just.
I think that's an A.
I think it's 100% an A.
An A, yeah.
Okay, and the fans gave him an A. Nicholas Latifi, he finished 18th. Get in the bin, D.
Yeah.
It's got to be at least.
Yeah, I wrote C in my notes, but I'd now.
How?
When his teammate's finishing 12th, fair point.
You don't have to actually get in the bin, Nicholas. I was joking. It's a D for me. Yeah, Katy?
for D.
See, I
On
would
the
say
sneeze?
C because that's kind of, bless you, that's kind of where you would expect them to
Didn't
be
even
in front
mute.
of both hands.
I thought I pressed mute because I thought I was going to snooze. I just didn't mute it. Sorry, Katy.
It's all right. I was going to say, he probably, like, finishing 18th is where you would expect them to finish if there were no DNFs, because that's kind of where Williams are on pace. But then look at George Russell. He's having a great time. So, yeah, I think D is probably a
Fans
fair
gave him a
score.
C. So they're feeling very generous. Very
They've been
generous indeed.
very
We gave
nice.
him a D. Nikita Mazepin. He finished 20th and nearly wiped out his teammate. Although I feel like he got a little bit,
I don't think that
lot of
was
stick for that. Yeah.
I don't think that
Mm.
was a harsh move.
But that's the way a lot of people were talking about it, wasn't it? And even Mick
Yeah.
Schumacher himself in a German interview I watched, who was pretty much going at him and saying, like, these conversations need to be had, etc., etc., etc. I don't think he really did anything wrong in that particular maneuver.
It's not nothing that you've not
It's
seen.
not like Baku, where
it's more a kind of, it's not a dangerous move. It's just kind of one of those things that a driver like Verstappen or Montoya does, where you kind of barge someone out of the way, and it's like, I'm making this corner and you're going to get out of the way.
There's nothing wrong with it.
No,
there was just not enough space. But he finished last still, even after Mick Schumacher fell quite a way behind him after a couple of excursions. So D.
Yeah, D.
I think D's fair. I mean, I will say at least he was the only rookie that didn't put it in the wall during qualifying. That's a good thing. But that's about his one redeeming thing from this weekend.
Really
Eddie wins
scraping the barrel.
And the fans gave him an F. Shock. And finally, Mick Schumacher, he had a bit of a scruffy weekend himself, to be honest. Although he, qualified P15, that's because he binned it in the wall. But then
great
still,
Schumacher master plan.
Shut up. I still give him a C, I think, because as much as it was scruffy, he showed some decent pace at times. So I want to give him a C.
Yeah, a C. I guess he put it there on his first run ahead of George Russell and a lot of other people. So
yeah. Katy?
Yeah. I mean, yeah, go on then.
Doesn't matter anyway.
No.
Me and Tommy voted C. And the fans gave Mick Schumacher a C as well. Right, predictions for the French Grand Prix. God damn it. So, 2 safety cars. That didn't happen. And this one I want half a point off because it was 0.43.
No, that's not how it works.
What? Come on.
No. Close but no cigar.
What about in Q1 and
There's
Q2, huh?
It depends if I'm getting points for Alpines.
Right, do you want to do a trade?
What's mad is not only were there not 2 safety cars, there wasn't a single yellow flag, I don't think, in the whole race, which is
Leclerc
wild.
and Raikkonen sort of had a prang in the last few laps, but that didn't.
I've not watched that yet. I heard some people mentioning that wasn't even shown on the world feed. It's one of those classic clips that you just see on F1 Instagram afterwards. You're like, when did that happen? Although, to be fair, I know a lot of people have slated the coverage. I think it is difficult when you've got essentially the 2 best drivers in Formula One having a wheel-to-wheel battle for the lead. You kind of understand why they're sticking to the leaders, to be fair.
Yeah, but over a second, I think they move away from it. That should be like threshold, and if it's over a second, which they still lingered on them and thought that the mini boxes was enough. I like the addition of mini boxes, and I think it's great.
Yeah,
but,
definitely.
Also, at the same time, sometimes have it on the big screen. I've actually found a loophole. So I said Perez 0.5 off Max in quali, and in Q1 he was 0.559
You're so cheeky
behind. So I'll be taking that
next
point.
time you'll say he was 0.5
I need
of Max.
some points.
I've got both Alpines in Q, so that's both Alpines
in
did do
Q3,
qualifying.
I can literally see it says in Q3 on my sheet right now.
That's fine.
So I'll be taking that point. Thank you so much. And no DNFs. You'll be taking that point, Tommy. Congratulations.
10th time in F1 history, no DNFs.
Wow, that's a big statement.
I did not realize that was actually quite a far off. I thought Paul Ricard, this can be fine, and then when I saw actually how rare that is that no one DNFs.
Mate, I'm pretty sure I'd never done a race rundown without anyone being there.
Yeah, it's weird.
When was the last time? Do you know?
Austria 2019.
Oh, was it? Okay, so I have done a race rundown.
Katy, boom, straight in.
Yeah, well, I've got it written down.
Okay, maybe I have done it. I just don't remember. Anyway,
blocked it out your memory.
Katy, yours.
I said Lando top 5 finish. Woohoo!
I love the way you're roasting it when it's literally your prediction for the next race.
Shut up, Tommy.
So that was good. And also, I'm just going to refer to the chat that we've got in here. People saying that Katy should get points for her top 5 predictions. So
No. No, you don't get extra points. What? I'm going to go get half a point for cooking, or cleaning my kitchen. Like, it's just irrelevant.
I'll get that not GoFundMe. What's it called? Change.org petition. I'll get that on the go again.
Please send me points.
Send me money.
Okay, so and the other one?
My other one was Alfa Romeo and the points again.
Yeah,
that worked out well.
Good one. Fans, Andrew_Tyrrell8. Hamilton Grand Chelem. No.
First ever Max hat trick was.
Yeah. Is it? Oh.
Yeah.
Aniket P73577978. AlphaTauri double DNF. Nope. And D Salathambi Ferrari will be back on the podium somehow. Absolutely not. Predictions
for champagne is Ferrari champagne, isn't it? Or sparkling wine or whatever it's called.
Yeah,
half a point.
It does work.
There's a loophole. Predictions for the Styrian Grand Prix. So I've gone for double points finish for Ferrari after their horrendous weekend in France, and I've gone for a Lando top 5.
Nice.
Lando
top 5.
That's
moving on.
Very safe strategy.
I need points, okay?
That's it. I need points.
That's the thing, is our predictions aren't like Hamilton will win. We go for it has to be crazy. It has to be a little bit crazy. Well, I'm reining it back in for this.
Yeah, I'm not. I've gone for I'm on a high for no DNFs, and I'm going to regret it. Leclerc top 3 in qualifying. Why not? And it's going to rain during the weekend, but it'll be a dry race.
Do you want to say what you had in there previously, Tommy, or have you taken it out because you didn't want to jinx it?
Oh, Verstappen wins the world title.
No.
Hamilton gets disqualified from the title.
Okay.
Points,
yeah, we took that out though, which is probably safe.
If he gets points now, you're welcome.
Tommy, just before Katy carries on, we haven't got any fans. We haven't got any fans.
We haven't got any fans. We haven't got any fans.
Okay,
I'll get on Twitter very quickly.
I'll stretch this out. So Ricciardo, that's Daniel Ricciardo from Australia, Perth, Australia. He's going to finish ahead of Lando Norris.
Who are they? Please give me a full biography rundown on who they are and what they do for a living.
They are racing car drivers. They drive orange cars. They go around these tracks, sometimes in different continents and different countries. And,
Ricciardo finished ahead of Lando. Okay, all right. So let's actually dive into that a little bit. So you think Ricciardo is actually going to have a better weekend than Lando, or do you think Lando's going to mess up and allow Daniel Ricciardo a better race?
Will I still get the points next week if I say this and it's the other way round? As in, like, Lando messes up and I've said that Ricciardo's just faster.
Just keep stalling, guys. Don't worry about it.
I wasn't listening to any of that because I just saw the things popping up in the sheet. So, Katy, what was the question?
I don't know. Let's just stick with that. And then Carlos Sainz, I've said top 5 in qualifying. Again.
Okay. In qualifying 3 or in qualifying?
In the final, in Q3. Let's go for that.
Oh, you screwed yourself there. At least I opened it up for a loophole. Right. The fans' predictions are in. Chanel. I swear you do this on purpose. Chanel. Perez to get his second Red Bull win. VMP 1978, rain will bring chaos with 10 laps to go. That's very specific. And I like Formula One with at least one Red Bull AlphaTauri mechanical failure during the race. There you go. Lovely. Well done, Tommy, for that very quick turnaround. We do have fans. They're here watching right now.
Fans.
Thank you so much, Team WTF1 members, for watching this live podcast. If you want to join and watch it live yourself and other many amazing benefits, then please do join Team WTF1 down in the description. If you want to get involved, just normally #WTF1 Podcast for any of your thoughts, opinions, questions, etc., and how wrong Tommy is with just most things. And that's pretty much it. Katy, final thoughts?
Well done, France.
Oh, Jesus. It's getting worse every week, isn't it?
I can't think of anything.
Lord. Tommy, final thoughts?
Abu Dhabi changing the track. That's exciting. If we just couldn't ask for any more in 2021, hopefully it works.
Wild.
Have you seen the things? I'll do a little mock-up and put it on Insta for people who want to see what it is. But
what are they changing?
So the chicane.
Get rid of it?
They are
straight?
Well, no, because you can't, because remember we mentioned they built the grandstands and the roller coaster too close. So you can't they have to slow the cars down there. So that's why the chicane's there.
What, in case they go into a roller coaster?
Well, in case they go into the wall, there's not enough runoff. They can't be going at that speed into that corner in case the brakes fail.
Okay.
So instead, they're doing a hairpin pretty much before that chicane. So there's going to be a hairpin there. And then this is the weird one. So yes to that, but then I'm not sure about this other one because main straight, chicane, main straight, and then that other kind of
Chicane.
double chicane, where there's normally quite a bit of overtaking. They're doing
left,
like
right, left,
yeah, they're doing a rounded kind of hairpinny banked corner, a bit like Barcelona, where they changed it to have no braking zone.
10-10.
There. So whether that's going to keep the cars closer, maybe that's the idea behind it. We'll see. But at least they're trying something. Fair play to them. If
Good final thoughts.
That's the best final thoughts Tommy's ever had, I think.
We have Katy going, well done, France, and Tommy giving some great insight into some news that's come out. Katy, have you decided to change your final thoughts? No, you haven't.
No.
Good Lord, that's just...
I promise I'll come up with really good final thoughts in Austria.
Okay.
Or Styria, whatever you want to call it.
Write some notes.
I will, I'll make notes.
That time,
so is it the Styrian Grand Prix the first one?
Yeah, it is. Very strange.
What, and the second one's Austrian?
Oh, I have a final thought. It's W Series this week, so give it a chance. It's on after Formula One qualifying.
Oh, okay, the first race of the season.
Yeah, first race.
Cool.
There you go, that's my final thought.
It's been out for
Thank you, Katy.
a year and a bit.
Is the broadcast any better? Have they made the actual broadcasting a bit better? Is it? I guess it's through. Is it the same as Formula One now in the sense of the way it's produced? Hopefully, because I remember tuning in when it first came out and it was horrendous, like the actual graphic overlays
DTM
and things.
And stuff, so
the graphic overlays where every driver had the same color and you couldn't tell who's who.
Yeah,
they've changed that.
Strange.
It is better.
Okay, cool. All right, well, we'll give it a shot. And anyway, thank you so much, everybody, for watching, listening. Give us 5 stars, thumbs up, whatever you want to do. Positive feedback, we deserve it. Subscribe if you're new, and of course, check out the WTF1 Clubhouse. Check out Team WTF1. Check out the channel. Check out everything because. Well, it's all fantastic. Tommy, Katy, thank you. Goodbye.
Bye.
Bye.